All right, today we are diving into a really mind-bending theory from the very edge of science. It's a fascinating idea that tries to connect some really exotic materials, quantum physics, and, well, the body's own energy field. And it all starts with one fundamental question.
Yeah, that's the question. Is your body, in some way, a living, breathing antenna that's constantly emitting and responding to really weak electromagnetic fields? That one idea is really at the absolute heart of the theory we're going to break down today.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the solid, established science of the body's own electric field. Then we'll look at the special ingredients this theory talks about. From there, we'll get into some of the physics and build up layer by layer until we get to this really cool core concept called the quantum mirror. Okay, first things first, let's ground ourselves in what we already know for a fact. Your body is electric. I mean, this isn't science fiction or some kind of wild claim, it's just fundamental biology. Every single second, your body is humming with activity that generates weak electromagnetic fields. Just think about it. You've got electrical signals firing through all your neurons, right? And that powerful rhythmic pulse from your heart, that's electric too. It's all just a natural result of charged ions flowing around, your cell membranes doing their job, and all the metabolic reactions that keep you alive. Your brain waves, your heartbeat, these are the most obvious signs of this constant internal electrical show. But, and this is super important, we have to get the scale right. We are talking about unbelievably subtle signals here. These fields your body makes are just orders and orders of magnitude weaker than the massive magnetic fields you'd find in something like an MRI machine. They're incredibly faint, but they're definitely there.
So, if we accept that the body has these very weak fields, the theory then poses a really interesting question. Could certain materials actually interact with them in a meaningful way? This is where some very, very specific ingredients enter the picture.
And this is where it gets really specific and kind of cool. The theory basically says each of these materials has a unique job to do, almost like they're on a team. Graphene, for instance, is proposed to act like a superhighway for the body's biofield, just helping that energy flow more smoothly. Gadolinium, on the other hand, is thought to work on a much deeper, quantum level, helping to align the tiny magnetic spins of particles. And then you've got rare earth elements like europium, which might organize the faint light, the biophotons our cells are always giving off, kind of getting them to all flash in unison. All right, this brings us to what are probably the two most important concepts for this entire model, resonance and coherence. You kind of have to get these to see how those materials could, even theoretically, have any effect at all. You've probably seen this before, right? The classic example is two tuning forks. If you strike one, the other one, as long as it's tuned to the same frequency, will start vibrating all on its own, without anything touching it. That's resonance. It's just a super efficient way to transfer energy between two systems that are in tune with each other.
And resonance leads us right into this next key idea, coherence. This slide just nails the difference. On the left, you've got low coherence. Think of it like a noisy, chaotic crowd where everyone is shouting random things at random times. It's just noise. But on the right, you have high coherence. That's more like a professional marching band, where every single instrument is playing in perfect time, in perfect harmony. The energy is organized, it's synchronized, and because of that, it's way more powerful and efficient.
So here's the catch. Our body's natural electromagnetic signals are normally like that chaotic crowd. They're non-coherent, they're noisy, and they get dampened and muffled by all the water and tissue inside of us. So the central problem this whole theory is trying to solve is, how could you possibly turn all that biological noise into a synchronized, coherent signal? So how could that noise become a signal? Well, the model proposes a really clever three-layered system. It suggests our biofield isn't just one thing, but maybe it's a stack of interconnected domains that are all operating at different scales and different speeds. At the base level, you have the bioelectric domain. This is the stuff we know well, the rhythms of our heart, our brain. Then, layered on top of that, you have the biophotonic domain, that faint glow our cells give off. And then at the very highest frequency, you get to the spin domain, which is pure quantum mechanics. The core idea is that if you could somehow link these layers together, you could create a massively coherent system. So how would you link them? Well, the theory points to some very specific frequencies that we already associate with heart-brain coherence. Things like the slow, steady rhythm of our heart rate, the alpha waves our brain makes when we're relaxed and focused, and even gamma synchrony, which is linked to higher consciousness. The idea is that these frequencies could act as the carrier waves that get all three of those layers vibrating and tuned together.
Okay, so with all this talk about quantum domains and coherent frequencies, you might be wondering, how does any of this connect to a more familiar and, let's admit it, more speculative idea like the human aura? Well, this model basically reframes the whole concept. It suggests that an aura isn't some kind of mystical, separate energy. Instead, it might just be the observable effect of the entire biological system achieving a state of incredibly high electromagnetic coherence. It's the marching band in its final, perfectly synchronized performance, an emergent field that arises from all the parts working together.
So this slide shows how that might happen. It's like a chain reaction. It all starts with the heart's powerful rhythmic electromagnetic field, which sets the baseline tempo. The brain's fields then start to synchronize with that beat. As that coherence grows, it begins to align molecules in our tissues. And this is where those special materials would theoretically come in, enhancing and stabilizing that alignment, until even the faint light from our cells becomes phase coherent, forming one single, structured, unified field. And this whole cascade, this whole chain of events, leads to the most powerful and, I think, elegant idea in the entire model. It ties everything we've talked about together with one really compelling analogy. The theory proposes that this specific combination of materials doesn't add energy to your system. It's not like a battery. Instead, it's proposed that they act as a kind of quantum mirror. So, what does that even mean? Well, think about a regular mirror. It just reflects your own image back at you, right? A quantum mirror, in this analogy, would reflect your body's own biological coherence back onto itself. It helps stabilize the system, reinforcing the order you've already created and kind of shielding it from all the constant chaos and energetic noise from the outside world. It helps life, as the quote says, hold its shape. And that leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. You know, while this is all still very much a theoretical frontier, it really pushes us to ask a new kind of question. Could we one day use materials not to medicate the body or to alter it, but simply to help it maintain its own natural, healthy, and coherent state? It's a really fascinating question to think about.